Okay, so what if I told you the secret to fixing your finances isn't in some complicated spreadsheet, but it's hiding in your closet? I know, it sounds kind of weird, right? But over on Reddit's Financial Independence Forum, a community that's obsessed with saving money, users are saying that a book about tidying up should be required reading. Let's dig in and find out why.
I mean, it really does seem like a stretch, doesn't it? Can tidying up your physical space actually transform your bank account? Well, according to this community, the connection isn't just real, it's incredibly powerful. So let's break down exactly how in the world this works.
All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, that surprising link between tidying and your money. Then we'll dive into the core philosophy of Spark Joy. After that, we'll walk through the tidying marathon, tackle some of the real world problems people run into, and finally, get to the big one, the actual financial payoff. All right, first up, what is the connection here? Why is a community so focused on saving and investing all of a sudden talking about decluttering their homes?
So this whole idea just blew up on the financial independence subreddit. You know, a place for folks who are super focused on saving like crazy so they can retire early. And they argued that Marie Kondo's method forces you to look your biggest financial habit right in the face, your relationship with consumption. As one person put it, once you've gone through the absolute marathon of getting rid of all the stuff you already bought but never use, it becomes way, way easier to just say no to buying new things.
Okay, so to really get the financial link, you gotta understand the core philosophy. And it totally flips the usual idea of decluttering on its head. See, it's not about what you toss out, it's all about what you consciously choose to keep. The whole thing revolves around this one idea: spark joy. You literally pick up every single thing you own, hold it in your hands, and you just ask yourself, does this give me a physical spark of happiness? And here's the kicker: it's got to be fast, it's got to be intuitive. It's that gut reaction you have before your logical brain can jump in with all the excuses like, oh, I might use this someday, or, but this was so expensive.
And this quote from a Redditor just nails it. This is the absolute core of the whole method. You are not on a mission to find stuff to throw away. Nope. You are intentionally, consciously selecting the items you want to bring with you into your ideal life. And that one simple flip, from a negative focus to a positive one, it changes the entire game.
Okay, so how do you actually pull this off? Well, let me tell you, this is not your average weekend spring cleaning. It's framed as a tidying marathon, a huge one-time only event that's meant to completely reset your home.
And yeah, there are some pretty strict rules. First, you've got to do it all in one go. We're talking 6 months max. That's how you get that dramatic change and stop the clutter from coming back. Second, you go by category, not by room. So all your clothes from every closet, every drawer, all at once. You dump them in one giant pile so you're forced to face just how much you have. And you have to physically touch every single item. It's super deliberate. The order you do this in is also a huge deal, and you can't change it. You start with clothes, they're supposed to be the easiest. Then books, then papers, then all that miscellaneous stuff she calls komono. And you save the absolute hardest for last, sentimental items. The whole point is to train your spark joy muscle on the easy stuff first, so you're ready when you get to the really emotional things. So that's the theory, but the Reddit thread got really interesting when people started talking about how this all works in the messy, complicated real world. And this quote from one user just perfectly sums up the number one question everyone has. What about useful stuff? Like, I'm holding a toilet plunger, it's not exactly sparking joy. And the consensus on the forum was pretty clear. For things like that, the joy is in their function. The absolute relief you feel when you need that plunger and you have it, yeah, that's a special kind of joy right there. Another thing that got people talking was the whole idea of thanking your stuff before you get rid of it. Some users called it animism crap and found it a bit corny, but then others chimed in with some really important cultural context. They explained it comes from the Japanese Shinto tradition, where it's believed that everything, even inanimate objects, has a kind of spirit and deserves respect. So it's not just about being polite to your socks, it's a way to let go of things properly without feeling guilty. And then, of course, there's maybe the biggest hurdle of all: family. As one user, CalcBros, put it, it's one thing to tidy your own space, but it's a whole other battle when you live with kids who are bringing in a constant stream of stuff from birthdays, school, and holidays. Keeping up with that influx of junk just felt impossible to some. So, after all that effort, all that sorting, we land right back where we started. Where's the money in all this?
How does tidying your socks and books actually translate into more dollars and cents in your bank account?
Well, it turns out the biggest payoff is actually psychological. As one Redditor, Jepitai, explains so well, the process completely changes your relationship with your stuff. You realize your possessions don't own you, they don't define you. And once you have that mental shift, once you've let go, it makes it so much easier to embrace the whole idea of financial independence, valuing experiences way more than things. And here is where it hits your wallet directly. I mean, after you've been forced to look at a literal mountain of stuff you paid for and now realize you don't even want, it fundamentally changes how you shop. That memory of the discard pile sticks with you. It makes you so much more hesitant to bring anything new into your home unless it truly, truly sparks joy. You can really see the before and after here. Before the process, you're kind of stuck in a cycle of mindless consumption and impulse buys, which just leads to clutter and maybe even paying for storage. But afterwards, it shifts completely. You're buying things with intention. You actually appreciate the fewer things you have. And that gives you not just financial clarity, but a ton of mental clarity too. And here's a great real-world story. One user said that after his wife read the book, she became much less prone to impulse shopping. The result? A direct, tangible benefit. And I love how he put it. The book definitely sparked joy for my wallet. But the effects go even deeper than that. Users reported that the process of making thousands of these little decisions over and over again actually made them better decision makers in general. It forced them to get crystal clear on their values, which then started to influence the big things: their career, their relationships, and how they wanted to spend their most valuable resource, their time. So in the end, this is about way more than just a clean house or a healthier bank account. It's really about taking a hard look at your life, but through the lens of your belongings. It forces you to ask this one really powerful question. When you look at all this stuff you've accumulated, it's telling a story. Do you like the story it's telling?